In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how to make a big life decision. So making big life decisions and changes is not easy. In fact, they say that some of the biggest life changes are the most stressful for people. And especially when it comes to finances or moving across the country, for example, or even moving down the street, or maybe leaving a relationship. And maybe you're in one of those situations where you don't know how to make a decision. I was actually in that same place not but a few months ago. And I want to share with you my experience and how I was able to actually make this decision and how it's been the best thing I've ever done for myself. So my name is Monica Main. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a single mom. And what I love about this decision that I made was that I was able to get out of kind of a rut in my life that I found myself in for many, many years. So I lived in the state of California, Southern California to be exact, in LA County. And I had been in Southern California for almost 36 years. And I had been thinking about moving across the country to the state of Florida for at least 10 of those 36 years. And so I was going back and forth, back and forth. I knew I was unhappy, and I finally made the shift and the change. The shift, of course, happens here first. And I just went for it. I put all my chips in and I decided to just move across the country. And it took me about 4 months to do it, to be able to get all of the mechanics in place, to be able to make the shift and change to move across the country. And when I did, man, I just feel like I'm a completely different and changed person. And so I made a lot of these kinds of changes in my life just in the past few years. In fact, case in point, I just also decided to leave a long-term 13-year relationship just in this last couple of months. And so you have to ask yourself, if you are in a situation where you don't know what to do and how to come to terms with making the right decision, you might be sitting there going, well, what do I do, Monica? How do I make this life-changing, life-altering decision? And what if I make the wrong decision? So I'm here to kind of guide you and giving you some systematic tips and strategies on how to make that life decision so that you don't go in the wrong direction. And I'm here to also tell you that if you know in your heart that there's something that's not right with whatever situation and decision you know you have to make right now, it means that you have to make a decision to make a big life change or big life shift. And so if you know that something's not working or you dislike something that's happening, this could be in a relationship, this could be in a job or a career or profession or business, this could be in a house that you're in or a part of the country that you're in. If you already at this moment in time know that it's not a right fit for you or something's not working, then that in and of itself is the indicating factor that you must make a life-altering decision, and you have to do it probably relatively quickly. So let's take a relationship, for example. You know that it's not working. So that in and of itself, case in point, means that it's time for you to decide to do something else with the situation, because it's never going to change. So I've been married and divorced 3 times, and I was always the initiator of the divorces because I realized at some phase that it wasn't working. And so relationship, or I should say marriage number 1, he turned out to be a drug addict and a drug dealer. And I didn't find this out until, of course, long after we were married. And I decided that that's not the direction I wanted to go in my life. So therefore, the decision was pretty much made for me. The second marriage was with a guy who, after I married him, decided he didn't want to work anymore and he wanted a sugar mama and he wanted somebody to take care of him. And so it took me 8, almost 9 years to make the decision to get out of that relationship. And the only reason it was so difficult for me was because I had a daughter with this man. And so I had asked myself one morning 2 imperative questions when I just realized that I was up against the wall and I could no longer do this anymore. And the 2 questions were as follows. 1, if my daughter came to me and had the same situation in her life where she was with this deadbeat guy who she was having to work all these jobs for to support while he did nothing but play video games all day, what kind of advice would I give to her? And the second question was, what kind of advice would my mom give me if she was still alive? What would she tell me to do in this situation? And both decisions were made for me. The answers were there, plain as day. And that is, my mom would tell me to get out. And if my daughter was in the same situation, I would tell my daughter to get out. And so that afternoon, I actually found a divorce attorney. And by the next day, I had my divorce paperwork filed. So that's how quick I was able to come to terms with the decision and to move on it. So sometimes you might find yourself waffling around for months, decades even, in some cases, because you don't know how to make a decision. Well, the bottom line is you have to actually make the decision at some point, because the situation is not going to get any better by you sweeping it under the carpet and not moving forward with doing something different. the situation will only get worse. So if you're in a relationship right now and you don't know whether you should leave or not, just in the mere fact that you're asking that question means that it's probably time to leave. So if you're a female, for example, or even a male, and you are dependent on that person's salary or income to be able to support yourself, time to start whipping together some kind of side hustle. There's a million businesses that you can do online that you can make a lot of money with. Start doing some research and start deciding to make your own income to be able to move out on your own and away from this person who's sucking away all of your energy and your joy in life. Because now is the time for you to get out from that situation. It's never going to improve. In fact, the only thing that's going to change is it's going to continue to get worse. Again, just in the mere fact that you're asking the question of whether or not you should stay, it means that you probably should not. Same goes for a job, same goes for a business, same goes for anything else that you feel like you don't have joy, you feel like it's taking every ounce of your soul, it's draining to be able to continue on that path. It simply means that it's time for a shift and a change. And then let's talk about moving even down the block or out of your house or across the country or whatever it is. Moving is very stressful. It's not easy. And so again, if you're in the situation where you've been thinking about it or you've been contemplating it for months, years, decades, then you know that it's the right decision to decide to move away. Now you might be thinking, well, Monica, I know I'm not happy with where I'm at, but I just simply don't know where to go. Well, start doing some research, start figuring some things out. Maybe you have family or friends somewhere else. I mean, we live in a nationwide, international kind of world these days with the internet and with all the different connections that we can make on social media. So we really don't have to have localized friends and family, but in the very least, be able to move to an area that is friendly. You know, that's one of the reasons I decided to move to kind of a slower, sleepy town in the state of Florida, is because of the amount of friendly people that are here. And I never got that in California. In fact, California was like Mean Girls on steroids as far as I was concerned. And I just could not leave fast enough. And so I needed to go to an area, even though I didn't know anybody and didn't have any friends or family in that area, I still needed to go to that area just because of the warmth and the friendliness of the people around me. And I knew that I could make it no matter where I was in my life, no matter whether I had friends or family, because of the people that were warm around me in that area. So maybe you need to just visit a few areas. And then if you're not sure, just write down 5 different areas of the country that you might want to move to, and then decide what's important to you. So for me, warmth is important. I don't like the snow. I don't like the cold. And therefore it kind of eliminated a lot of the states in the union, because I simply would not live in the snow and I would not live in the cold. I'm originally from Chicago and I just always hated it there. I don't like the winters. I don't like the gray skies. And so therefore it took out the vast majority of the country right then and there. And so for you, maybe you love the mountains, maybe you love the snow, maybe you love these things. And so you can start to choose a location to move to based on a variety of criteria. It might be affordability plus mountains plus snow equals, and then there's going to be a handful of places to go to. And then of course you want to take into consideration whether or not you actually have to have a job there, or whether or not you can operate, from home, working from home, or working online. So these are some things that you need to consider when moving across the country. Affordability is a big thing for a lot of people, at least for me in the state of California, especially Southern California. It just became unaffordable. And I do very well for my business, but I felt like I was running faster and faster on this treadmill, and it was not worth sustaining the lifestyle I was having there, just because of the fact that people were just mean and rude and cruel. And I'm like, why am I paying all this money in taxes and all this, escalated, amount of money that I needed to be able to survive there, when I just simply did not enjoy it anymore. And so that's where the decision making was for me in that moment. Like, it's just not worth me sustaining this. And on top of that, with the amount of money that I make, I could take it to a much more affordable place in the country. Since I can operate, as long as I have a USPS and an internet connection, I can operate anywhere in the country. And I might as well go to a more affordable place to be able to, now have a happier, more blissful life. And that's exactly what I have now, ever since I made the move to the Panhandle of Florida. So Florida might not be for you, and that's fine, but find a place that's for you. Or maybe you just don't like the house you're in, you just want to move across town or to the next town. Fine, absolutely make those decisions. But again, in the mere fact that you are thinking about making the decision means that you need to make the change. Change is hard, it's not easy, especially when it comes to relationships. If you feel like you have to give your parents the axe or one of your family members the axe, like for example, I had to completely disconnect from my brother because he's an alcoholic and he drunk texted me all the time, these nasty, mean things constantly. And I had to block him, and I no longer have anything to do with him. And of course, that was a very, very hard decision for me to make, but it was for the purposes of my well-being and, staying balanced. And so you might have to make these kinds of hard decisions on your own as well. So again, just the mere fact that you're asking the question of whether you should do it means, guess what? You should do it. So don't be afraid. Just simply decide to make the decision of doing whatever you need to do, whether it's giving a relationship the axe, whether it's moving across the country, whether it's finding a new job or starting a business, whatever it is. Just the mere fact that you are thinking about doing it means you should do it. But now it's time to start doing your due diligence. Start to look for the different areas of the country you might want to move to, or the different parts of the state that you want to move to that's different than where you're at right now. Or start thinking about the business you want to start and start doing some research. You want to start researching how to make this happen for yourself. Or if you're trying to get rid of a relationship, start thinking in terms of, okay, what do I need to make this happen? Do I have enough income on my own to be able to disconnect from this person? And if not, find yourself a good side hustle, find yourself a second job, do something else. Because let me tell you about relationships. They will drain you faster than anything if they're not supporting you. And they are hurting you in that way. So if you have somebody in your life that you know that you should have ditched a while ago or a long time ago, it means that they are literally bleeding you dry on a spiritual level, and you need to disconnect from them sooner than later. The longer you stay in that relationship, that means that they're going to chisel away at your psyche, your spirituality, and everything else in between. And it's not going to give you energy to continue to propel yourself and catapult yourself into the future that you know that you deserve. So time to make some hard decisions, time to stop throwing it on the back burner. And it's time to start getting the life that you know that you truly deserve, because it's never going to change on its own. You can ask for some divine spiritual intervention if you'd like. You can ask for guidance from the higher forces or from God or whatever it is that you believe, that you need inspiration and you need ideas on where to take the next steps in your life. And those ideas and that inspiration will be given to you probably in a dream, or maybe in an idea that you have while you're taking a shower or while you're running or whatever it is that you're doing. You'll all of a sudden get this idea, hey, I should try that business. Or, hey, I should move to this part of the country. Or you'll just get that idea if you start to let it go and make the decision, yes, this is what I want to do, but now I need a higher power to give me the guidance that I need to take the next step. And so that's what I do every single time. And I never have to worry about making a poor or bad decision because I'm always guided and I trust that guidance. And maybe it's time for you to start trusting that guidance too. So if you liked what I brought to you today, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot more videos like this and other things on business and investing that you might find valuable. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel. This is Monica Main signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.